It is finally time. I have been planning this video for years. I have been trying to make this video for years, and the day has finally come when I get to talk about one of my all-time favorite Marvel characters. Let's dive in. Let's talk about Rocket. So a little brief backstory on Rocket Raccoon for any of those who don't know or are not familiar with his character. Rocket Raccoon is one of the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He was originally abducted from a research facility on Earth by an evil mad scientist who calls himself the High Evolutionary. In the comics, his name is Herbert Wyndham. He takes animal creatures and experiments on them to evolve them into a more evolved state in order to serve in his utopian ideas. It's a really, really, really weird guy. But Rocket is very intelligent, and the High Evolutionary sees this and is jealous of Rocket's intelligence. So he wants to take Rocket's brain and use it on all of his other experiments. But Rocket is smart, and he escapes with friends of his who are also experiments. But he fails to escape. His friends all end up dying, and that destroys Rocket's innocence, and he feels guilty for their death, and that guilt transfers itself all the way into the future through Guardians 1, 2, and then finally Guardians 3, where his whole story arc comes full circle. Now that that brief backstory is all summed up, I want to talk about what Rocket means to me. Now, in order to talk about what Rocket means to me personally, we have to go back to 2014 when the first Guardians of the Galaxy film came out. I was in middle school at the time, um, and I was a very different kid back then. You know, I was into stuff that a lot of other kids my age didn't consider cool. I was into like D&D role playing, and I had very different interests at the time, and I didn't fit in with a lot of the other friend groups there. I felt like an outcast, and seeing Guardians of the Galaxy 1 for the first time made me realize that superheroes can be weird and quirky and different and misfits. And if you know me personally, then you know I am a sucker for misfit characters in general. You know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is one of my favorite childhood characters because he's a misfit who learns to embrace himself as a misfit. But with Rocket Raccoon, it was a whole different experience because I just instantly meshed with his grief and his anger and his just his whole entire attitude was one of very sort of off-putting. Like, he was a jerk. He's a jerk. Rocket is a jerk at the beginning of the Guardians of the Galaxy films, but he doesn't take things seriously, and I just formed a connection with his character, and the rest is history, man. I remember that I used to make sketches of Rocket in my homework folders and on my homework sheets. Like, I was obsessed. I was obsessed with Rocket Raccoon at the time. I thought that a raccoon holding a gun and shooting things was the coolest thing ever. I still do. I still think Rocket is such an underrated character, especially in the comics. His origin story in the comics was very different. Not going to get into that too much in this video, but he's a really cool character. I really adore his sensibility. And Volume 3 was sort of the antithesis of him as a character, and seeing him come into his own and realize who he is and realize his purpose was so important to me, because it was around a time when I was still in college, and there was so much happening, and COVID was happening, and the world was sort of a mess. And when Guardians 3 came out, it sort of made that mess feel a lot less in a way. And so with Volume 3, after seeing that in theaters and experiencing that, which felt like it felt like an era. It felt like an era, even though it was just half a year. It felt like an entire decade of hype and connection. Like, I made friends who were on Twitter who were similarly obsessed with Rocky Raccoon. Like, it was an entire fan base and community around this one character. And that just made me realize how important this character ended up being in my life. And that is the entire point of this video, is to say that Rocky Raccoon, even though he is a fictionalized raccoon who can shoot stuff, he's human. He has so much humanity. And seeing that unfold, and seeing how James Gunn, who, by the way, is an absolute genius at filmmaking, can take a CGI raccoon and make him the saddest character in the MCU. Like, you don't understand how mind boggling that is, and how cool it is to see something like that on a big screen. And it's clearly had such an impact on me as a person. And so I want to bring this video to a close by saying thank you. Thank you, James Gunn, and thank you to all of the artists and creatives who went into the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and had faith in the Guardians of the Galaxy film begin with. Because it wasn't an immediate success. People didn't think that Guardians 1 was going to be successful, but it was. And it surprised the entire Marvel fan base. And so I would just like to thank everybody who was behind that film and everybody who had faith in it. And the trilogy is just, it's so beautiful. And Rocket's the best, man. I don't know what else to say. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This video was so much fun to make, and so much love went into this entire video, but also the entire channel. You know, the Goobyverse has been going strong, all thanks to you guys. So thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more of our videos, don't forget to subscribe and turn the notification bell on so you get notified of when we post a new video. Let me know down below who your favorite Marvel character is. I would love to know. I know Spider-Man is probably going to be a big one, since he's also another pretty beloved character. Um, and with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace!